If you're buying a home in New York City and nobody has warned you about closing costs yet, let me be that person, because your down payment is not the only check that you're running at the closing table, not even close. I'm Joseph Ranola with the Bridge and Boro Team at Real Broker. Today, I'm breaking down every single closing cost that New York City buyers need to know about. We're gonna go line by line, so there's absolutely no surprises when you sit down to sign. So let's start with the big picture. In New York City, buyer closing costs typically range from about 2% to 6% of your purchase price. Now that's on top of your down payment. So easy numbers, on a $1 million apartment, you could be looking at anywhere from $20,000 to $60,000 in additional costs just to close, or more. Now that range is huge, and where you fall depends on whether you're buying a condo or a co-op, whether you're financing, paying cash, and of course how expensive the property is. Let me walk you through each cost one by one. First up, the mansion tax. And yes, I know the name is misleading because you don't need to really be buying a mansion. In New York City, any purchase of $1 million or more triggers the mansion tax. The buyer pays it, you. It starts at 1% for properties between 1 and 2 million, and it goes up from there. Between 2 and 3 million, you're paying 1.25%. 3 to 5 million is 1.5%, and it keeps climbing all the way up to almost 4%, 3.9%. for purchases of 25 million or more. Now here's what it looks like in real numbers. If you're buying a $1.5 million condo, your mansion tax is $15,000. At 2.5 million, you're paying about $31,000. It's a big number, and a lot of buyers aren't budgeting for that. Now, one important note, there are currently proposed changes that could increase the mansion tax rates after mid-2026, which is just about where we are at the time I'm filming this video. So if you're planning a purchase, this is something to keep an eye on and talk to professionals about. Next is the mortgage recording tax. This is one of the biggest closing costs for buyers who are financing their purchase. And luckily enough for us, it's unique to New York. If your mortgage is under $500,000, the rate is 1.8% of your loan amount. And if your mortgage is $500,000 or more, it bumps up to 1.925%. So let me give you an example. Say you're buying a $1 million condo. Again, you're putting 20% down, so you're borrowing $800,000. Your mortgage recording tax would be about $15,400. Significant cost that a lot of first-time buyers don't see coming. Now, here's the thing that trips people up. The mortgage recording tax does not apply to co-op apartments. That's because when you buy a co-op, you're technically buying shares in a corporation, not real property, so there's no mortgage recorded against real estate. This is actually one of the reasons co-ops can be cheaper to close on than, let's say, an equivalent condo. Now, title insurance. If you're buying a condo or a house, you will need title insurance. There's two policies: the lender's policy, which your bank requires, and the owner's policy, which protects you. Together, they typically run between $2,000 and $3,500 on a $500,000 property. Of course, like anything else, the cost scales up with the purchase price. Again, co-op buyers catch a break here. Since you're buying shares and not real property, there's no title to insure, so this cost doesn't apply to co-ops. Now, your real estate attorney. In New York, unlike many other states, both the buyer and the seller have their own attorney. It's not optional. You need an attorney to review the contract, handle the title search, and represent you at closing. Expect to pay somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000 for a good standard real estate attorney, depending on the complexity of the deal. Could be less, could be more. My advice is don't try to save money here. A good attorney will catch problems before they become expensive and protect you throughout the entire process. I work with some excellent attorneys, of course, always happy to share a recommendation. Next up, building related fees. If you're buying in a condo or co-op building, there's usually move-in fees. Most buildings charge a move-in deposit, which is refundable as long as you don't damage the common areas, and a separate move-in fee that's non-refundable. These can range from a few $100s to over $1,000 depending on the building. Co-op buildings may also charge application fees and sometimes require you to pay for a credit check or background check as part of the board approval process. Altogether, this could be a few $100s or even $1,000 or $2,000 or more, and it could all add up. Then there's bank-related fees if you're getting a mortgage. These include your loan application fee, appraisal fee, which usually runs between $500 and $1,500, bank attorney fees, potentially points if you're buying down your rate. Your lender will give you a loan estimate that breaks all of these down, and I always tell my buyers to request that estimate early so we can plan around all of this. Now, let me also mention a few costs that are easier to overlook. There's the recording fee, which is what the city charges to officially record the deed and mortgage. There's adjustments for property taxes and common charges, meaning you might owe the seller for prepaid taxes or maintenance. And if you're buying a condo, there may be a working capital fund contribution which is typically 1 to 2 months of common charges paid to the building. Now, let's put this all together with a real example. So say you're buying an $800,000 condo in Brooklyn. You're putting 20% down, so your mortgage is $640,000. So here's roughly what your closing costs would look like. Attorney fees, let's just say $3,000. That should be on the high end for something like this, unless it's incredibly complex, but attorney fees, $3,000, okay? Title insurance, around $2,500. Mortgage recording tax, again, 1.8% of your loan because of the amount that it is. That's $11,520. There's no mansion tax. Wow, good job. You're saving some money because you're under $1 million. Bank fees, miscellaneous costs could be another $2,000 to $3,000. So your total closing costs are in the range of $19,000 to $20,000, or about 2.5% of your purchase price. Now, something else to discuss, since they have split the brokers in the last 2 years, since August 2024, you may also have to pay your real estate broker, but that's another subject. I will do another video on that. Now, let's do $1.5 million condo with 20% down. So you're borrowing $1.2 million, right? Attorney fees, $3,000 to $4,000. Title insurance goes up to maybe $3,000. Mortgage recording tax at 1.925% is $23,100. Insane. Mansion tax at 1% is $15,000. Bank fees, miscellaneous, add $3,000. Now your total is around $44,000 to $48,000, which is roughly 3% of the purchase price. And if that same $1.5 million was a co-op instead of a condo, you'd save on the mortgage recording tax and the title insurance, which would knock off about $26,000. It's a massive difference, and one of the financial advantages of co-ops that doesn't get talked about enough, to be honest. So what can you do to prepare? First, we'll get a full closing cost estimate early. As soon as you're serious about buying, your agent and your attorney should be able to give you a detailed estimate based on the type of property, the price range, and your financing. Second, don't forget to budget for these costs separately from your down payment. I've seen buyers stretch to hit their down payment number and then scramble when they realize they need another $30,000 or $40,000. I mean, another 5 figures to close, right? Third, talk to your lender about what's negotiable. Some bank fees could be reduced or waived, and in certain situations, the seller may agree to contribute toward your closing costs, especially in a slower market. It happens a little bit less common here in New York. I actually put together a free closing cost breakdown guide that you can download right now. It covers every fee for condos, co-ops, houses, gives you a quick formula to estimate your total costs based on your purchase price and loan amount. You could grab it at my website, ranolarealestate.com. The link for the exact page will be below. It's going to be in the description and the pinned comment. So closing costs in New York City are higher than most places in the country, and they catch a lot of buyers off guard. But if you plan for them from the start, it's just another line item in your budget and just another thing to deal with if you want to live in this crazy city, rather than being a last minute crisis. If you're thinking about buying, you want to see exactly what your closing costs will look like for a specific property, reach out. You could book a free consultation. Again, that link is going to be down below. We could walk through everything together. If this was helpful, hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos every single week breaking down the real costs and strategies of buying and selling in New York City. I'll see you in the next one.